What's up, family? Welcome to Hope TV. This is the day the Lord has made, and we're here to rejoice and be glad in it. Welcome to Marriage Matters. We're back again, honey. We've been doing this strong since March 24th.
Yes.
And here we are, man. Listen, it's August. 5 months we've been doing Hope TV. We started just as a way of contacting our members through the pandemic, and so we catch the vision on March 16th. Our team started March, and here we are. I mean, and in 5 months, we've had over 30 million views of our content. It's just mind blowing. Never thought it would happen, and I think I'm getting on your nerves by being on here every week.
Every day.
Every day, okay. All right, well, good. I love you too. Appreciate you. But anyway, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. It means a lot to us to have your support. Everybody who's watching, God bless you. Thank you so very much. If you've not yet followed us on social media, we have 3 platforms we want you to follow. Of course, you can follow the Hope TV. You can follow us on Facebook. You also can follow us on YouTube, on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I'm so confused, as you can tell. So Facebook is the Hope TV. Of course, then on Instagram, the Hope TV, and then of course on Twitter. So we're so thankful to those of you who've been following us. Man, we're over 2,200 people, almost 2,500 people now on Hope TV on IG. So you guys are amazing. Thank y'all for your support. We love you. We appreciate you. Told you it's going to be something good. I told you it's going to do good. So Hope TV, God bless y'all. We Hope Bill is here, and I'm excited. And so thank you. And then, of course, if you're not followed the church yet, I have several platforms on the church that you can follow. Of course, you can follow the church. We have a Facebook page, House of Hope Atlanta, YouTube channel, House of Hope. That's now about 55,000 subscribers. Unbelievable. God bless y'all for that. And then, of course, House of Hope on Instagram, HOHATL on Instagram, and HOHATL on Twitter. Please follow those platforms. Last but not least, you can follow yours truly on social media. That is on Facebook, the official page of Pastor E. Dewey Smith, YouTube, Dr. E. Dewey Smith. Then, of course, Instagram and Twitter. You can follow me at E. Dewey Smith. So please follow right now. Please, ma'am, please, sir, please follow. And if you're watching through a platform that will allow you to subscribe, to comment, to like, or to share, please do so now. This is Marriage Matters, and it's funny to me that my 85-year-old mother-in-law is watching. She funny. She got her laptop and knows how to go on Facebook. She got a Facebook page. I don't know how to go on Facebook. So what's up, mother? Glad to have you on here today. It's funny. That's funny to me. I don't know about you, but glad to have you. Her mother's funny, so. But but anyway, mother, welcome. Thanks for being a part. So you can subscribe, like, comment, share, and if you know 5 people who are married or strongly consider marriage, why don't you share this with them now? Help us get the word out. Every time you like a comment, you help us with an algorithm. So please do it now. Last but not least, let me thank our sponsors for Marriage Matters, and that is Faith Social. God bless Faith Social. It's a revolutionary app that allows believers to come together from all over the world for prayer, for Bible study, for worship, for enriching content. So if you've not yet followed Faith Social, let me encourage you to please do that. They're helping us tremendously. It's a digital platform, personalized content. You can connect. I mean, it's amazing how people are coming together from everywhere for prayer circles, just for prayer support. Bible studies are on there. Worship services are on there. Different types of chats are on there that are uplifting and encouraging. So please, you can download it from the Apple Store. Also get it on Google Play. The easiest way to find out about it is just to go to www.faithsocial.com. They're our title sponsor for this show. I want to thank them because they're helping us to carry the gospel and good news everywhere. So shout out to Faith Social. Go, and if you follow them on IG, on Instagram, go to Faith Social, at Faith Social. Follow them, and then find the last post and just tell them we found out about you from Hope TV and Dr. E. Dewey Smith. So shout out to our sponsors for Marriage Matters today, Faith Social. Appreciate you guys so much. I'm excited about this show. You've been producing this one, and you've been working this one. How long have you been working on these guests?
Oh wow, for a couple of months now.
Yeah, so she's been trying very, very hard and to make this happen. I'm excited. This is our pastor and our first lady, our pastor and his wife, our father, our mother, and we're excited. I've known him since I was 12 years old. Crazy. 12 years old. Preached my ordination when I was 19. My first church, he preached my ordination service from the book of Haggai. I never shall forget it. Um, dedicated both our sons. Yeah, so he's been with me from everywhere I've been, from Macon to now, and 30 years later, and to see the example that he and his wife set for so many. They bless so many people across the world, and we're excited to have them here. And that's Bishop Clarence E. Glover and Mrs. Beulah Glover, Lady Beulah Glover. What's up, Papa, Mama? How y'all doing?
Hi, how are you?
Hey, how are you?
Y'all like
Man, it's so good to be here.
Y'all look so good.
Yeah,
Thank you.
You got your distinguished look, Bishop. I see you look good, sir.
yeah. I woke up one morning and decided not to shave, and that was about it. So I just kept it going.
And then his granddaughter, Kylie, told him, "Oh, granddaddy, I love that beard." He said, "Oh, that's it. I'll never cut it off again." Yeah.
And you look good too, Mama.
Yes.
That dress look great. God bless
Thank
you.
you. Thank you. Thank you.
So we want to start off today with you, Mama Beulah. We want you to tell us how you guys met. We want to know all about how, he ran you down and forced you to marry him. Tell us the truth, because we know, he's going to try to say something else. So tell us how this all got together.
Oh, wow. It's been a lot of years because we've been married for 54 years. So it's been quite a time. We met third grade in Montezuma, Georgia. And we were in the same class, actually. And later, my family moved to Atlanta when I was about uh, fourth grade, I think, something like that, third or fourth grade. And so I was gone until I came back at seventh grade, and we were in we were in different classes, but the same grade. He was always fast talking, cool, and always trying to sing, that kind of thing. I was more kind of laid back a little bit, and I really didn't like him at first because I thought he was all into himself, And so later we went on a trip. I'm trying to fast forward some stuff. We were on a school trip to Brunswick, Georgia, Jekyll Island, actually. And on the bus, he later told me he switched with one of my girlfriends so that he could sit with me. And we talked, and of course, he's a smooth talker. And I don't know, for whatever reason, I got a light bulb came on. I must have transitioned from liking to, not liking him to liking him, because he told me he had written a song for me. And he began to sing that song for me, and I said, "Oh, that's great." So from there, we started dating, and that's when we were like 10th grade, I believe.
11th.
11th grade? I thought it
We
was 10th grade.
promoted to the 10th grade.
Okay.
We were promoted to 11th grade.
Okay, it was the summer that we were 10th grade and promoted to 11th grade. And of course, when I got home and shared the information with my sister, she said, "Oh, girl, that's on the back of Sam Cooke's record," And I said, he lied that he wrote it. But it was after that we started to date, and kind of saw him in a different light. And we, I guess, fell in love at that. I guess if you can call it love at that age. But we graduated from high school, and my father wouldn't let me go to Fort Valley, which is where he was going, Fort Valley State. At that time, it wasn't a university. And of course, they wanted me to go to Morris Brown, which is where I went, and he went to Fort Valley. And of course, he was on the road every weekend trying to get himself to Fort Valley. Thumbing, at that time, you could thumb a ride to Atlanta about every other weekend. He was trying to get there. And there were a couple of guys that was kind of trying to date me while I was there. And he imposed himself and sit there and say, oh, hey man, how you doing? And I'm saying, what is this? I didn't even know you were supposed to be coming up here this weekend, that kind of thing. But my mother liked him a lot, my dad, he could take him or leave him. But after that, we decided, when I came home after a year of college, both of us had completed a year of college, and I came home for Christmas, I believe, or for whatever reason. He said, you know what, this is not going to work. I think I want to get married. And so he asked my father for my hand. At that time, you do that. And my sister and my mother got the wedding together within a month. From all the month of December, I wore a borrowed wedding gown, beautiful gown, and but it was what it was. Of course, I was about a size 7 then, 6 or 7, and I was.
I didn't say you weren't.
Yeah.
I was just listening to you.
And so they got the wedding together, and it was a packed church, of course. And on January 16th, 1966, we said I do to each other. And it's been, from then on, Clarence and Beulah. They told us, they kept saying it would last maybe about 6 months. And no longer, because he's so fast, it's not going to last. And of course, 54 years later, we're still together.
Wow.
And all the ups and downs. So, yeah.
I knew you
So
ran
it's
it
been.
down.
So
I
no,
knew
well,
you ran it down.
I kind of slow walked her down. Let's put it that way. She's right. She's right about a lot about the time frame, etc. Yeah, when she came back to Montezuma in, I think it was 7th grade. We've argued about whether it was 7th, 8th. I told her I knew it was 7th. But she when she came back, she and I didn't care too much for each other. We were in high school together. 9th grade, we were in the same classroom together. She and I and 2 other guys, she didn't like any of us. But as she said, when the 10th grade, I tell you one of the things that really happened. I didn't notice her until one day, on one night on the football field. The first time I ever saw her as a cheerleader. And man, when I saw her in that cheerleading outfit, that was enough for me to say, I need to know this child just a little bit better. And she did say on the we went on the trip in the 11th grade, promoted to the 11th grade. It was a summer trip. We went to Jekyll Island to the beach because we went to the colored we went to the colored section. At that time, it was segregated, and we went to the part that was reserved for African Americans. And it was out there that we, kind of started talking. On the way back, I did tell her I made the song for. It was on the flip side of one of Sam Cooke's records. I never would have thought her sister would have ever heard it. But from there, man, we started dating. She went to Morris Brown, as she said. I went to Fort Valley State. The summer I came to Miami, spent some time with my aunt, and she was in Atlanta. And so we just decided, man, that we wanted to get married. So we did at the age of 19. There was no marriage counseling sessions. That was nothing. We decided as young people we wanted to get married, and we did. And we got married. I think our wedding cost less than $1,000, and that included the ring.
Mm-hmm.
It was, it was just a wonderful thing. We got married in January 16th, 5:00 p.m., 1966. The preacher, Reverend Champ Ward, So he was our pastor, master, and every prayer in that book, he prayed it.
Pray for back down.
You know, about 4 people in the wedding. I think the wedding lasted an hour and a half. It was about 4 people, but I mean, I guess he saw that he needed to pray for her. You know, so yeah, we got married at an early age. My daddy, you know, only instruction I had was my father told me, listen, son, this girl isn't bothering you over where she is. I said, she is bothering me, but he did tell me these words. He said, now listen, if you're not going to treat her right, leave her where she is. And if you can't take care of her, leave her where she is. And he said, I don't ever want to see a time where you are walking around as if you looking like a millionaire and your wife and your children, I know you're going to have some children, your wife and your children are looking, you know, like they're thrown away children. I want you to make sure that you take care of her. And if you can't do it, leave her where she is. My wedding instruction. And, you know, through those years, I've tried to make sure that I did that.
Yes.
I get Bishop. I want to ask you one question. What was the song on the backside of that Sam?
I would say such wonderful things to you, and there would be so many wonderful things to do if you were the only girl in the world, and I was the only boy. Nothing else would matter in this world today. We'll go on loving in the same old way. That was the gist of the song. It was a song that I love.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I sang it on the way back, man. And from there,
Jack, you know where that is.
From there, we
back to Monotone.
We started dating, and you know, and on the side of the family, you know, didn't think that I was going to be a good guy for her. And but when we finally got married, and I won everybody over, all of them. And so the Lord blessed us with a great family, blessed her with a great family. And you know, we've just merged these two families, and it's been great ever since.
And his brothers became my brothers. There was a sister that they never had. They always, mother took me in like a daughter, and that she never had. And so we had a great relationship. When you talk about mother-in-law and daughter, it was never that. It was always mom and daughter. She loved me with a passion. I loved her. And Jerome and Charles and Ronnie and Rosby, they all took me in as a sister. Even to this day, they will call sis. They don't do the in-law thing. We're the brothers. They're my brothers, and my sister is their other sister. So
yeah,
it's been that kind of relationship, which has really been a positive for our, you know, for us. And my mother loved him. She waited on him, Andrea, hand and foot. I would say,
I feel you.
I'll be happy when you go home. You know, because when she come to visit us for a week or two, he set a glass down. She's got it. What do you want? Son, you want da-da-da-da? She's waiting on him, hand and foot, you know. And I'm saying, hey, Mom, I'm not going to do this. So he loved his mom-in-law. We didn't have the in-law.
Yeah, there was no such thing as in-laws with us. I love Nell to no end. And one of the things that we chose to do early on in our marriage, we decided, number one, that we were not going to allow anyone, including family,
right,
to tell us anything about the other. That's the first thing. Secondly, we decided that no matter what, we were not going to allow anyone to come between the two of us. And thirdly, that we were going to do everything in our power to stay married. We did not get married to you know, get a divorce. We didn't get married until things got bad, and we'll talk a little later. Things get bad, man, not from a standpoint of being physically abusive and that kind of stuff, but I mean financially bad. And secondly, someone asked me, at an interview, just what were some of the things that made sure that kept y'all married. It's total one was the grace of God.
Yes.
The second was the love, the support, the patience, the forgiveness of this girl right here. If it were not for that, if it were not for the fact that she was as loving and patient and as forgiving as she was, I'm not sure I would be where I am today. I say that with everything that is in me. I would not be who I am today and what I am today if it were not for that, because she has had the opportunity, if she had chosen to come to walk away from this thing and never look back. But I'm so grateful that God gave her the heart that He gave her, and gave her to me and me to her, because she has just been everything I needed in order to help me be what I am today.
That's
And
good.
um, the thing that helped me to come through and persevere and love him unconditionally too was the fact that my father and mother I was from a broken home, separated when I was probably about 12. And I promised the Lord too, when I got married, I wanted it to be forever. I didn't want to, you know, in and out. And so we went to live with my great aunt for years, from 12 years old until I was out to get married. And she taught a lot of mother with wisdom poured into me. She was my Mordecai. She really helped to guide and direct my sister and I on things. And so everything that Leslie's mother's embedded in me, I tried to bring that into the marriage, and that has helped a great deal. Yes.
So let
But
me
it
ask you
was
this,
an
Mama Beulah. Let me ask you this. He wasn't a pastor when you guys got married.
no, he wasn't.
He
Far
wasn't a
from it.
preacher. He was just saved. He was just saved.
He was
So
saved, but
how was that transition?
well, he I must say, see, he was saved when he was a young boy, I believe, around 9 or 10, baptized, and grew up in he grew up in the church. His dad was a preacher, but he had good values, I could say, that was instilled by his father and the mother, especially Etta Mae. And so he knew how to um, that he needed to treat me. He wasn't abusive by any, and he knew better than that as well, because Nell Rucker would have come out at me. That's my mom, in terms of any hitting, and I told him from Jump Street, if you hit me, don't go to sleep, don't eat my food, don't do any of that, and don't let me put on a pot of grits.
I told you. I told you. What did I tell you before we started?
So, but it was never that. He was never that, and he did take care of me very well. I've always done well. Like I said, we've had our low times and high times, but we learned to work together. And I did not allow anyone to invade me with idleness about him and this kind of thing. I didn't receive that. And what happens when persons decide and learn that you're not going to, then they won't bring it to you. My great aunt always told me, she said, if there's something for you to find out, don't you worry, it will come to pass. You'll find it out anyway. And then you decide how you want to deal with whatever the issue is at that time. You make that decision. Don't let other people make the decision for you. Don't let me, his mother, or yours make a decision for you, because our decisions are going to be biased. I love you because you're my niece, so I'm naturally going to take your. His mother loves him, although she would beat his head across if he got in late, or anything like that. But so she was very wise. She stood about 4 feet high, but has so much wisdom. And so I loved her with a passion, and everything that she taught me, I've tried to impart that too into my girls and my children and grands, to do the same. And so it helped me get through a lot of things. Of course, there were times when I really did feel like I wanted to walk, but then the Lord had to recall some things to me. And then I had a couple of good friends, Andrea, that helped to me in those down times. And of course, you can't listen to but you do know that friends only a couple of that you might have, and you can count them on one hand and still have fingers left. That said no, 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 and I said no, no, no. I said yes, yes, yes. But he has always been. I never doubted this, and this is, I guess, the most important thing for me. There was never one time that I've doubted that CE did not love me. I never doubted that. I loved him. Have never stopped loving him. I didn't like him a lot of times, but I never stopped loving him. And I don't think he ever stopped loving me. If he did, he didn't show it.
But
Did you stop loving me at times?
I refuse to answer that question. No. No, that there's never been a time when I didn't love you, girl. No, but when we got married, man, I was singing nightclub. To be honest, I started singing nightclub not too long, after we got married. Got married in '66. I started singing nightclub. In I guess '67, I sang at a place called the Astro Club in Americus, Georgia. I was the opening act for quite a few guys who came through. Johnny Taylor came through, Clarence Carter, and all those boys came through. I was like the club's singer, and when we moved to Brunswick from my hometown, we moved to Brunswick, Georgia. I started singing quartet, and I was on the road a lot singing quartet. And she joined this church. It was Zion Baptist Church. Pastor J.C. Hope was the pastor at that time, and she became more involved in the church than I did, because I was constantly on the road. On Sundays, we were going somewhere singing and that kind of thing. And Pastor Hope left and went to Macon, and I started preaching. I got called to preach, do it when I was 16 years old. I'll never forget it. I got called to preach when I was 16. But my father was a pastor, man. He was one of those itinerant pastors. He pastored 4 little churches and out in the country. And I saw things about church I just never wanted to be a part of. I used to love to go with him, but I never wanted to be no preacher. I never wanted to be a pastor. So I did everything. Even my boys that I used to run with, man, they knew I was going to be a preacher.
Call them Rev.
They would call me Rev, and they wouldn't let me smoke. I bought a pack of Salem one time, man, and those cats took the cigarettes from me and told me, preachers don't, you're going to be a preacher. You ain't got no business smoking. And I cussed them out. Everything I could do to keep from preaching, that's what I did. And so the transition wasn't a bad transition, because she began to see me. I was always singing quartet, but I was in the choir, and I started moving from singing in the choir until I just decided to answer the call of God. So that
and
transition.
I wasn't even there that Sunday.
Yeah, that transition wasn't a bad transition. It wasn't a cultural shock. One day this Negro is doing this, the next day he's deciding he want to be a preacher. She kind of grew up with me in my father's house. My father was a pastor, as I said. My mother was a pastor's wife. So that transition wasn't a real cultural shock for her. Yeah.
Mama Beauty, let me ask you this question.
And prayed a
Did
lot.
you know Did you know he was going to be a preacher?
Me?
Yes.
That he was going to be a preacher?
Did you know that? Did you see that?
No.
Not really. But later, as he began to come back to the church, there was some areas that he was really working on, and I just began to pray. Dewey, and I hope that's okay to call you and Andrea
Absolutely.
Dewey.
Absolutely.
You're our
Absolutely.
children, so that's I was praying, and friends and others were praying, and so the Sunday that he accepted the call, I was out for some dental work from the church that Sunday, and I got all kinds of calls, people crying and everything. Oh, you should have been here when he accepted the call. And so what I did at that particular time was to thank God and then ask me never to be a stumbling block, for where we were going at that initial time,
Wow.
whatever. So when we were moving about and everything, so that helped a great deal.
In fact, dude, I didn't even know I was getting ready to do this. I'm gonna tell you, I was on my way, man. It was a Saturday. I was on my way to the Villa Palms. Villa Palms was a local club right down the street from the house. I was one of the patrons. I was one of the guys who had his stuff
Yeah.
behind the bar. I could go behind the counter and get my at that time I think I was drinking Chivas Regas or something like that. I could go back and bottles like that. I could go back and fix it and drink it, paid for the bottle, etc., etc. I was on my way there, and before I knew anything, I was at our church, and our pastor, Reverend Darisol, he's never at the church on Saturdays. But on this particular Saturday, he was at the church. And I found myself going into the church, asking him, could I meet with him? And started crying like a baby and telling him that God called me. I knew that God had called me to preach. And I couldn't hold out any longer. He said, okay. He said, I'm going to give you the opportunity to make that announcement. I want you to pray about it, but I'm going to give you the opportunity to make that announcement. I was in church that Sunday. I never even thought, about that. And then he stood up and said,
He hadn't
Clarence,
told me.
Brother Glover, has an announcement that he wants to make. And I made it, and that was in 1975, and it's been a journey ever since. But yeah, it was not a bad transition. It was not one of those sudden transitions insofar as the moving from nightclub right into preaching. I moved from nightclub back to quartet, back to the choir, back to church, back to the choir, and then preaching, and all the while we were in church together.
I can say prayer works. That's all I can tell you.
So
It
now
really does.
she's taking credit for doing it. She said she listen to her. She, she prayed she prayed me into preaching. I guess that's what it is. Whatever happened, I'm glad it happened. Yeah.
Well, I want to ask you both one last question because we out of time. Y'all got to come back for part two. You got to come back for part
Okay.
two. I got to ask you,
Okay.
but I want to close with this. I want to close this segment with one last question because I think what's happening with this COVID-19, a lot of people are going to have to make some transitions. Whether it be
Yeah.
financial, whether it be business, relocation. So I want to ask you both that question. So, what kind of advice, Mom and Dad, would you give to the couples that are watching? That are making some transitions right now with each other, giving space and giving room to each other. When you go back to 1975 and shifting from that to preacher, all that, what kind of advice would you give to people who are watching, couples who got to make some transitions, whether it be through having children, starting a business, education? What kind of advice would that be?
Well, one of the things I would say, I never forget some years ago when we had an automobile accident, and my wife had to have back surgery. At that time, we were, I was selling life insurance and she was working. She had a full-time job, etc. And we were living pretty good. We didn't have any children, man. Yeah, she was personnel manager at Sears. And we were doing well. And she had to have back surgery and she was out of work for 1 year. And we lived out of both incomes. Um, um, And then what happened, man, we used up all of our savings, all of our reserves, and we almost lost, everything we had. And from that moment, when I went to God and I told him, if you get us out of this, I would never, ever depend upon my wife's income for us to survive. And from that moment on, we did not. And I'll talk about that maybe next time. We did not. And what I would advise couples to do is to make sure that you're very diligent in managing your finances. You make sure that if during this time, you don't spend, there's not a whole lot of things where you can spend as much as you want to spend because you can buy as much as you want to buy online. But the bottom line is, I think it's extremely important that couples be very careful with their finances. Couples decide that, we're in this together. We're home with each other in many instances. I move about a lot. I play golf. I can go back and play a little golf. So, but the time we spend together is valuable time. I spend a lot of time in my office. She's up front, watching what she watches. And so we give each other space, even though we're in this house together. And like I said, I'm in and out. I may run down to the church on a Wednesday. We do a feeding program on Thursday. I probably run down there and just check that out to see how things are going. But, the bottom line is, I just think couples need to make sure that they recognize they're partners in this thing together. And during this time, if they have not already done so, start moving toward financial stability.
And working together and find things to laugh about. We do a lot of laughing with each other. We talk to each other, not at each other or down. And I told him if he'd had another career, it would have been as a comic. Because some things he comes back at and I said, one day I told him, I said, honey, how am I looking today? He said, old. I thought I would just die laughing, so it was everything going around and talking, because it was something else that had prefaced that statement. And so he was on his way out to go play golf. So, but we laugh a lot together, and that's very important. It's very important that you find commonality with each other, that you can talk to each other and, just enjoy one another and make sure that you have some time that's not interrupted. Like today, I told the girls, listen, between 1 and 3, we're occupied. Okay? No calls during that time, no emails, nothing. Right?
Yeah.
And so
So that's about it, man. There's other things we could talk about if we had more time. But I do want to. I want to make sure, man, young couples recognize, because I'll talk to you about that later on, what happened with us.
Yeah.
Because we were reduced, man, to eating government meat and cheese at one time.
Right.
And we through that time we stuck with each other. I promised my father, I promised her that I would take care of her. And man, to lose my job and she's not working, and we not having any finance, having to go home and having to get from the lady who raised her from 12 until I got out of that house, have to go and get subsidies from her, government meat and cheese, having to borrow maybe $100 from my father or my mother to get back to Brunswick. having to just survive.
But it drew us
It
closer.
drew us closer together, and we did everything you could with that government meat and cheese. One day we might be having what we eating today. Well, we eating
We're
steak
gonna
today.
stake it today.
What's going to be? Well, I think we're going to do what they call that stuff.
Hash.
Yeah, we're going to corned beef hash. What are we eating today? It was always government meat and cheese, but we always made something out of it. So
Yeah.
we've been through some real tough seasons, and you got to make sure that you got to know that you are in this thing together for the long, because it's not going to always be, man, sunshine. There's
Mountaintop
going to be some
experience.
rain, and
Yeah.
I'll talk to you later about some of the rain experiences that we've had, and the
Valley
reason I
experience.
said, or the valley experiences, and the reason I said I'm grateful to God for her. I'll be extremely transparent about a couple of things.
Wow, listen, man, this has been
Great.
phenomenal. Listen, Bishop Beulah and Bishop C, Mama Beulah Glover, y'all are amazing. Family, I hope you guys have been inspired. 54 years of marriage. What a testimony.
Yes.
I mean, we've been inspired. We're always inspired every time with your
Always.
presence. And I'm glad you're able to come on, family. So those who are watching, whether you've been married 5 months or 50 years, you got something out of this session with Bishop and Mrs. Glover. And we're going to come back next week. So we're going to close. I'm out of time now, but we're going to have them back. They've consented to come back. I want you to tune in same time, same day next week, as they're going to be back with us for Marriage Matters. Is that you want to say?
No, thank you guys. I
All right.
can't wait till next week.
All right.
Okay.
We're going to log off
Looking
now.
forward
We're
to
going
it.
to close this segment. But until next time, remember this. If you be good to God, God be good to you. Till next time, peace. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.